Get back to Iran, and moments ago, the president issuing a new warning to Tehran posted the following on Truth Social. Here we go. From this point forward, anytime the Islamic Republic of Iran shoots at a ship in the Strait of Hormuz, whether it be a missile, rocket, drone, or any other device or weapon, the United States will bomb and destroy one bridge or power plant, including those located next to or in the capital city of Tehran. Dan Hoffman here to react. And Dan, good day to you. What do you take from that message now as to what's next?
Yeah, well, I think the president has laid down the gauntlet on this one and made it very clear that that if Iran continues to try to disrupt trade in the Strait of Hormuz, that we're going to take action against them. I'm not that sanguine that Iran is going to stop trying to disrupt trade. They're trying to raise the costs of the United States prolonging this war. That's one way for them to do it. The other way that they've been doing it is by targeting our bases in the region, including in Jordan, where 4 of our servicemen were killed.
And Dan, you've served in that region, and so you have a special knowledge and understanding of it. And you've talked about the fact that sometimes we have to reassess that what we're doing is working, not working. We have to be honest about it. Where do you see us potentially pivoting here with what the strategy's been so far?
Yeah, I just look back to the war that Iran and Iraq fought in the 1980s. Over 1 million casualties, chemical weapons. Iran and Iraq never came to the peace table until Iran was too exhausted to fight, and their supreme leader said he had to drink from the poisoned chalice and agree to a deal that he probably wouldn't have wanted to. I think Iran's threshold for pain is pretty high here, and what they want to do is reduce or eliminate altogether U.S. influence in the region, and that's what they're trying to do. For the United States, I think the question for the president is to look to his intelligence community and determine where we can influence Iran's behavior. So far, our military strikes have been extraordinarily successful at degrading Iran's military capability. Yes, they retain enough missiles and drones to disrupt trade in the Strait of Hormuz, but we have destroyed Iran's military. But that hasn't changed the fact that they aren't interested in negotiating in good faith. And the question is whether we have the military capability to induce them to do that, or whether we're going to have to take on the task of destroying Iran's weapons of mass destruction through military means and not pursue negotiations.
Okay, so we'll see whether it's a power plant or a bridge next, or whether that's just a threat for the moment. Meanwhile, you got Pickaxe Mountain. For our audience, the Israelis believe this is where the centrifuges have been hidden. Came up yesterday with Secretary Hegseth.
Do we have the ability to destroy whatever is underneath Pickaxe Mountain?
Senator, a lot of our capabilities are classified, but if anybody in the world can reach anything on God's green earth, it's the United States military, the most powerful military in the world. It's all about options and trade-offs.
Dan, would you expect this?
I do. I think this is a key intelligence requirement. Iran has reportedly been installing centrifuges there. The question is whether they've tried to deliver any of their highly enriched uranium that they might get access to, although that's certainly difficult to Pickaxe Mountain. The additional concern that I would have is that if Iran follows the same playbook that they have with their missiles and drones, then they may seek to disperse these facilities where they install centrifuges and seek to enrich uranium. And so I think it's not just Pickaxe Mountain. We need to be really watching very carefully, using all of our intelligence collection, CIA human intelligence, NSA signals intelligence, overhead reconnaissance, everything we've got, along with our allies in the region, so that we ensure that Iran is not installing centrifuges in other places. It's a large country.
Yeah, and then the question becomes if it would require troops on the ground, an operation there. Dan Hoffman, always appreciate your insights. Thank you, sir.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.